2, 3. Yup. Welcome back to the Bees Like That podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and today it is cold outside. Woo. Cold as it's been this year, I think, so far. Like right now it is nearly 10 a.m., and it is still a brisk, and I'm saying brisk, 37 degrees. 37 degrees. Oh, man. All right, so check it out. Sometimes, if I may toot my own horn, it happens that I say some relatively insightful stuff. One thing that I want to cover first before I talk about that, it just happens to be a quote of mine that I came up with, but it is pretty powerful and it's true. But one thing I do want to touch on before that would be actual change in an individual's life, and how that change on a personal level for you or for me, as real as it is and as transformational as it may be, and inspiring to some. Unfortunately, this isn't news to anyone. This isn't going to surprise anyone. There are, among the world of people who know you, a population or percentage of a population of those people currently have a version of you in their mind that takes up space rent-free, that they cannot or refuse to let go of. To these people, this version of you is as alive, breathing, moving around the world and occupying space as the truest version of you is to those who embrace you and that version. The sad truth and reality about, first let me say, the untoward version that certainly does occupy space in others' minds, has nothing to do with you right now, and it is actually none of your business. And were it not for these individuals to take the time out of their day to notify you of the version of you in their mind, you'd not know any different and would carry on with your life as you were and as you would typically. Another unfortunate but true reality is there are a contingency who will do their best to find any opportunity to smut you up. It doesn't matter much to them whether the things that they say about you are true or untrue, so long as they put it out there, see if it gains any traction, and even if only temporarily, for them, this is a W. Sadly. Even to this population of people, when they happen to be highlighted or called forward into accountability for spreading unfavorable things about other individuals, they often will meet this resistance with more of the same, and willingly, and will almost never print a retraction for any obvious or overt mistakes. It sucks. But I've found that there is a way that is more suited and useful in a couple of ways when dealing with this type of person and situation. One, saves you a lot of grief. And two, the only thing required of you really is to continue to be your authentic self, show up as yourself every day. You know, we are dynamic creatures, so it is completely reasonable that on one day, and you can frame this as having a good, bad, or moderate day. But nonetheless, show up as yourself every day. Never suffer to hide behind any form of pretense or social veneer, which is always the weakest form of protection against negativity. The other benefit here to showing up as yourself, and a bit of advice mixed in, would be don't meet fire with regard to in return spreading more negativity about the original negativity spreader. This doesn't look good. It doesn't match or jibe well with one's natural disposition to get along. Now, it doesn't feel good to have people talking crap, right? It doesn't feel good. And especially doesn't feel good when they're not willing to express any of these grievances or disapproval while in your presence. Now, I don't mean getting into a fight or a yelling match or calling each other names. That's not what I mean. But anyway, it has benefited me greatly to resist the temptation to engage in that kind of back and forth banter with otherwise immature and emotionally unstable individuals. It's not something that's sustainable, and that kind of like a constant diet of that form of negativity just isn't good for anyone's psyche. But what you'll find is over time, they kind of run out of runway, right? And the people that generally, and this is what happens, the kind of stuff happens in social groups. The people that they disseminate these narratives about you to, even if they don't express these feelings to this person, they will begin to realize a pattern that you're not doing the same thing. That speaks volumes about a person's internal compass and where you are regarding self-confidence, efficacy, integrity, and efficiency of energy, right? Like prioritizing, what is it worth to me to engage in this kind of behavior? Not a lot, so I probably won't. And then over time, as I've seen usually happens, people run out of steam. It becomes boring. It's not fun anymore. It's not stimulating anymore. So they'll move on to another target, another hill to die on, whatever. And the best approach still remains to be show up as yourself. Continue to I just keep being me everywhere that I go. This has shown over and over to be the best option. And I mean on many fronts. I talked about a minute ago, just the peace of mind, because I don't have to strategize being myself, right? I don't have to remember which hat I need to put on while walking through separate doors. I walk in with the same level of confidence. I walk in with the same level of self-awareness. And I believe that supplies the requisite amount of good energy, into a room. It kind of sets the stage for an individual. And it's the most repeatable thing. Like, it has the longest shelf life. And the great thing about it is it's easiest to be yourself no matter, like when I was 9, it was easy to be my 9-year-old self. When I was 10, 11, 12, 13, well, maybe in teenagers, it's a little harder to be yourself because we're looking for so many different levels of acceptance. It's not even funny. But I think overall the point is made that, again, to put on these social veneers and different versions and masks, and to code switch to such a degree that you literally sound like different people when you're talking to different groups of people is kind of crazy. It's a little crazy. Lottle crazy. So that's a whole bunch of be yourself talk, right? And it's nice. It's really, really nice. And I found that this does really well with building confidence in relationships with other people. If they know what to expect from you, especially if it's a good experience. I mean, I'm a person who doesn't have a ton of relationships because, Chris may have some trust issues, but I come by those honestly, and they're things that I work on. But in the relationships that I do have, they're pretty dang good, man. They're pretty dang good because people know what to expect from me. There's a consistency to me. Now, not that there can't be a consistency to being disingenuous, because there certainly can. But again, I have to just really harp on the value and efficiency. It's really, the budget for being yourself is relatively not, like, it's nominal. It's pretty damn good. You're getting a lot for not a ton of energy. Moving on. Sometimes it happens that I'll have a few things just kind of bouncing around in my brain at the same time. And then they'll collide, I guess, for lack of a better term, and turn into a larger and pretty cool thought. So this is one that I had the other day regarding recovery, because I have a person that I deal with who's suffered an extraordinary amount of loss over the past year. And I think that, especially held by people who have not experienced personally the allure, the power, the frustration, and just the deviousness of addiction, there's an idea that you can just will your way through it, and the answer is just to be as strong as humanly possible at all times. And I'm telling you, and I'm relieved that is not true when it comes to people like me. So I said, recovery never requires one to be strong always, brave at all times. What it does require at all times is that we are willing. What a relief for a population of vulnerable, broken, and misfit toys such as us. Whew. That is a direct quote. I ain't copy that from nowhere. That is mine. I wonder, it's time stamped on Facebook. Y'all try to steal it. I'm just kidding. But how amazing is that? Because what that says simply is, even when you're most tired, when you're most discouraged, most frustrated, feeling most disconnected from source energy, higher power, community, family, whatever. Most hopeless. That willingness, just to be able to remain open, willingness to remain open, willingness to hear solutions that may challenge you, just willingness, period. What a relief, because that's a hell of a lot easier than being brave. Sometimes willingness is all we got left. They may be the only energy we have left to give a thing. Because I feel that willingness is synonymous with hope. And, in each of us at different points, varying in amounts and degrees of strength, it exists, but exists nonetheless in finding, grasping, and cultivating that into a force for our lives that gives us the power to determine, again, success, agency, whatever, happiness for ourselves without fear of the reflexive consequences of those in power who don't understand where we've been, who don't understand where we're at, and who cannot possibly understand where we're going. And with that, I'm out. Because I got to go to Costco, dog, or something. I got to go somewhere and pick up some food because maybe not Costco, because I don't know if I need that much food. But regardless, we need to stock up because it is about to be cold. It's supposed to be down in the single digits, baby. And, sometimes it's fun just to hibernate and hole up shop more at home and secluded. You already do. Look, I'm not even going to front. I'm an introvert, and it's like, I'll be in the house. I'll be in the house. I'll be in the house. Anyway, if you didn't do it on the way in, please think about doing it on the way out. Hit that like, subscribe, post notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the cool, wacky, inspiring, funny, once in a lifetime, veritable surplus of information and insights that we share and talk about here on the Bees Like That podcast. Again, I'm your host, Chris. Peace, y'all.